Clouds have gathered here before. Sand has shifted beneath our feet. Time has marked the moments when trembling hearts skipped a beat. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. A rush of wind fills the air, the breath of life drawing near. God is here. Be still. Be still. Who am I to doubt this truth? Who am I to fear my need? The one who holds my life and breath will not falter, will not leave. So be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. A rush of wind fills the air, the breath of life drawing near. God is here. Be still. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. God is here. Be still. Be still. Oh, be still. Be still. Ooh. Be still. Be still. Be still.
And we want you not only to be still, but be here. Thank you and welcome for Unity of Melbourne. We greatly appreciate it. At Unity of Melbourne, we love ourselves and accept ourselves and others, and we heal our world. Could you please go ahead and join me in saying that? Because that's who we are. We love and accept ourselves and others, and we heal our world. And right now, we want to let everyone know, those in the sanctuary and those watching virtually, that your soul is welcome here.
Please sing with us. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here right now. My soul is welcome here. Right time. My soul is welcome here. Right place. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here.
And yes, your soul is welcome here. Good morning. My name is Randy. I am your platform host today, as well as a variety of other things. It is so good to see everyone here, not only in the sanctuary, but also you online. Thank you so much for spending your Sundays with us. Whether you drove, whether you walked from the bedroom to the living room or the office, we thank you. We greatly appreciate you. Let's take a moment in prayer. Today's affirmation from the Daily Word is, a growing awareness of God's presence is my greatest joy. Awakening from a restful sleep, I give thanks for a new day and all the people who will be part of it. Although I cannot know what will happen as this day unfolds, I remind myself that everything and everyone might lead me to a deeper awareness of God. This growing awareness is my greatest joy. Even if the day includes less than happy experiences, I will know the quiet joy and comforting strength of the peaceful presence of God that is always with me. I will rejoice today in being alive, able to think, to feel, to appreciate the sights, the sounds, and the aromas that fill my environment. I will discover joy anew as I recognize each person I meet today as a unique expression of the wonder of God. Our affirmation, a growing awareness of God's presence is my greatest joy. And so it is, and we claim it to be. Amen. And one of the greatest joys here at Unity of Melbourne is, we'll call her the matriarch, Ms. Jane Thompson, who is here in our sanctuary today, with her daughter Jan. And I have been told that she'll be celebrating a very important day tomorrow. And we just want to go ahead and take the Unity blessing for Jane, because we mean this from the bottom of our heart. Jane, we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ that are. Thank you. Okay, we've got a couple things. We want to welcome everyone who is joining us for not only the first time, but welcome back to everyone. If you are here with us for the first time, Judy in the back has a bag that will be glad to give you information about Unity Melbourne. If you are joining us for the first time online, we invite you to say hi, check in. If you're here for the anything less than 1,434th time, then please say hi and where you're joining us from. We don't care if it's your living room. We don't care if it's your kitchen. But if you're watching us from Dubuque, Iowa, if you're watching us from Palm Bay, if you're watching us from any other place, please say hi, because we want to know. Thank you so very much. We want to remind you that we have Wednesday Connection and Prayer at 7 o'clock on Zoom. Joseph will be posting that link in just a moment. And if you are in the sanctuary and want to know what that is, we will certainly give it to you on your way out of the sanctuary today. Wednesday, the Connection and Prayer is our time to come together midweek, not only to pray, but also to connect with our spiritual community. So please join us for that. We have Reverend Harold Correa today as our guest speaker, and he'll be continuing our series on the 4 agreements. And we'll have the Sunday talk discussion right after the worship service today, but also on Wednesdays, we'll be joining with 7 other Unity ministries throughout Central Florida in doing a deep dive on that. So that's Wednesday evenings at, I think it's 7 o'clock on Zoom. And we'll also make sure that information, it's already on our website, it's already on our Facebook events, but please join other Unity spiritual communities in the Central Florida area to go over, in this case, it'll be the 2nd agreement that is going on. And our own Maggie Roche and Pat Razzo. We've got a lot of things coming up to the end of the month that is End of Life Matters, where we've got 2 talks coming up. Reverend Elizabeth Longo will be doing a talk on regeneration, Unity's perspective on regeneration on Sunday, the 31st. Then we've got new rules for end of life workshop. That'll be at noon after the service on Sunday. Then we've got a community memorial service Wednesday starting. That'll be live here in the sanctuary. And also we'll be streaming it on Facebook and YouTube as well. That's at 6:30. And then Reverend Therese Lee will be here on Sunday the 7th, and she's doing a talk on All Is Well with My Soul. And that'll be on November the 7th. And immediately following that Sunday, we've got St. Francis Reflections and a few other organizations that will be here to talk about end of life and hospice and things along those lines. We'll have information. So the end of the month is jam-packed with things that are here and specifically to help the evolution of your consciousness. So we want to make sure that you're aware of that, and all of this information will be available on our website, our Facebook page, on meetup.com, and everything else. We are blessed today by having a number of I think we've got the entire prayer chaplain community here today. We've got, let's see, Pat, Ann, Chris, Jane. Did I forget anybody? Okay. They're all here. So if you are in need, if you're looking, if you want prayer after the worship service, you've got your choice of prayer chaplains, and they'll be available immediately after the worship service. And if, for those of you online, that you can't drive down here to actually get prayer, know that Silent Unity is available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to pray with you and along with you. And Joseph has the telephone number right now posted on the chat stream, as well as being shown as well. You can email them, and you can even make a telephone call, because prayer associates are available. You can also, for those in the sanctuary, you can fill out the prayer request forms that are at the back of the table, drop in the prayer box, and those prayer requests will be held in prayer here at Unity of Melbourne for 30 days. Then we take those prayer requests and we send them out to Silent Unity at Unity Village, where they are prayed for another 30 days. We have a bunch of children at the other end of the building, and they are also following the same theme of the 4 agreements that we do here. So the children in our youth programs are learning the same things that we are. And here we are, a little bit older, and the children now are learning these same concepts, learning the same concepts. And we just have to bless them that they are being made aware of this consciousness at such a young age. Because for those of us who are a little bit older, we have to overcome a whole lot more. Those who are younger don't have a lot of the baggage that we do. So watering, nurturing those young minds. So let's go ahead and take that energy of nurturing those young minds as we bless our children. Children, we love you. We bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. And if those of you in virtual land, if there is a child that you know that would benefit from such teachings, please send an email to Cheryl Linder, who's our Director of Youth and Family Ministries at youthed@unityofmelbourne.com. And speaking of raising consciousness, it's time now for our musicians as they sing. Higher place, up, up, up.
Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more forward, no more backward, no more spinning around and around. My life is moving ever upward. My feet are leaving the ground. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more downward, no more darkness, no more wandering the point of it all. My life is destined, oh, for greatness. My soul has answered the call. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place.
Are we high enough? That didn't quite come out the way I thought it was going to. It really is all good. It really is. Well, welcome to the second week of the 4 agreements. Last week, you had Reverend Burnell talk about the first agreement, which is be impeccable with your word. And that, of course, is about basically being in integrity with yourself and with those around you. I'm sure she went into a little more detail Let's just briefly touch on it before we move on to the second agreement. When we are born into this world, we are born into our families, our culture, wherever you're born. And whether, well, we don't agree to it actually, it just happens. You're born into whatever town you're in, whatever country, and whatever that society has is what you're going to learn. And like it or not, because you believe it, that is what you are agreeing to, everything that you're learning from that. How to dress, how to be, how to act. Don't talk too loud in certain places. Don't do this, don't do that. Walk this way or not. So we agree to all these as we're growing up, and we have really no choice. Now, if we want to get into the spiritual aspect of it, supposedly we did. But in the physical, we haven't agreed to it. We just follow the norm, if you will. And of course, as we grow up, we get that ingrained in us. And subconsciously, really, we just act the rest of our lives with these agreements. Now, being impeccable with your word means be true to yourself. What does that mean? It kind of means that if you are just following the norm, most of the time you don't realize it, but you're not being impeccable with your word because you're just following the beliefs that you've been taught. I'll briefly touch, and I'm sure you heard it already. The word impeccable comes from the Latin peccatus, meaning sin, and the im of the impeccable means without. So being impeccable means being without sin. I like to take it a step further, and we in Unity know that sin is missing the mark. So being impeccable with your word means not missing that mark and being your true self. And what is your true self? That connection to the divine. So the 4 agreements, I'll go through them real quick, and then I'll go on my second one. We know the 4 agreements as, if you will go to the next slide, please. I just touched on the first one, be impeccable with your word, which, like I said, is just being in integrity with yourself and all others around you. The second one, which I'll go into a little more deep now, not now, but after this, is don't take, I just spaced it. Don't take anything personally. And we take things personally because we think we know what the other person is thinking. The third one is don't make assumptions. And it's very similar. We're making assumptions because we think we know what the other person's thinking, or we think we know what the other person thinks of us. And the fourth one, which I think is we work with all the first 3, is, of course, always do your best. And what Don Miguel talks about being your best, meaning that your best might not be the same if you're healthy, energized, as opposed to if you're not feeling well, if you're kind of lethargic. So depending where you are, do your best at that level. That way you don't have to beat yourself up about not doing enough. So going back to the agreement that I will be focusing on today, don't take anything personally. What does this mean? Quick example, and I'm going to kind of call myself here. I almost did it today just on the way here. Somebody was on the highway with me, and they kind of started going back. And just when I thought about passing somebody that was in front of me. That person, out of the blue, decided to speed up. And I had to let him go by. And as he speeds up, he goes right next to the person that was in front of me. And he slows down to that speed. And for a moment, I was like, really? This is what I got to put up with? And honestly, my wife had to remind me, don't take it personally. But seriously, we should not take things personally, because we really, what I like to say is, we don't have all the facts, first of all. We don't know what the other person is thinking, what the other person might be going through. And everything that those around us are saying or doing or thinking about us, it's not about me. It's about the other person. It's whatever that person's story is, whatever their agreements are. It's all about them. But of course, in society, we're taught that everything is about me. Don Miguel tells us that we are living in a dream of the planet, which I see as a dream of society. Everything, like I mentioned earlier, that we learned from the moment we're born, growing up, through our parents, our teachers, any other authority figures that we experience growing up, those agreements get ingrained in us. And if you think about it, it is not our truth. And if it's not our truth, what I think it could be, and Don Miguel touches on that, it's a dream that we are dreaming, a dream that we have to follow whatever is being said and done around us in society. And yes, everything has its place and its time, of course. What Don Miguel mentions is that when these people are instilling these agreements in us, they call our attention to all these different agreements, all these norms that we have to follow, rules, laws. And then we forget, and we don't realize that everything that is being said to us, that is being taught to us, is teaching us to keep us being untrue to ourselves. Don Miguel mentions that there are three aspects of this. We have the inner judge, the victim, and the belief system. The inner judge, of course, judges everything. As Don Miguel says, judges the cats, the dogs. It might judge the way somebody's looking at you, the way somebody walks, or the way somebody's dressed. And then, of course, we have the victim, which receives these judgments and then carries the blame, the shame, and the guilt. And we tend to go through life with all this, not realizing what is happening. And this is all, of course, based on a belief system that once we've agreed to all these agreements, well, I guess I should hold this a little closer, that we agree to these belief systems, it becomes what we think we are. Don Miguel mentions also that, of course, with all this in our mind, it becomes normal, or we think it is normal, to suffer, to be sad, to be angry. And when we're not doing that or being that, we think we're not our true selves. The animal. The human is the only animal that judges itself not once, not twice, but hundreds of times, thousands of times. Don Miguel calls it true injustice because we don't judge ourselves just one, but thousands of times. And not just us, but it could be our loved ones, a friend, a colleague. If we did something wrong, they'll make sure to remind us if something down the road happens again very similar. And we do it to ourselves. And in truth, we are, as they say, our worst enemies. So we judge ourselves more than anybody else can judge us. If we are judging ourselves more than others, we'll let those others keep judging us, and we might not say anything. Only if these other people judge us more than we do, then something goes off in your mind and like, wait a minute, I'm not going to put up with this. But you haven't realized that if that person is judging you just a little less, you might just let them get away with it for as long as you know that person. Now, how do we free ourselves from this judgment, from this dream? And of course, that's why we're doing the book for the month. And it's not just Unity of Melbourne, but a lot of the churches, Unity churches around Central Florida, which I think is a wonderful idea. I'm not sure who came up with it, but I agree with it. So of course, to kind of free ourselves from this dream, yes, be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. And always do your best. One of the things that I got from the book is Don Miguel tells us that most of us are afraid of living our lives more so than death itself. So we go around being afraid to be our true selves because we have been taught to just follow all these agreements. And of course, the way we learn these agreements is by, for the most part, I'm going to say, maybe there's a few of us that didn't have to deal with this kind of thing, but either punishment or reward. If you did something that your parents liked, you got rewarded. If you did or said something they didn't like, you just might get punished. And then we take that to our adult lives, and we keep using the same pattern, not realizing that we are letting ourselves be guided by these old agreements. What if everything we've learned about how to be in the world is wrong? What if we are supposed to live and have our being from our passion, not worrying about what others think or say or do? Will we let society tell us how to be in this world? Will we let the so-called experts tell us what to be afraid of or not? Or will we realize that our true source of health, of wealth, of abundance is God, is our divine self? If we truly believe this, we would not need to take things personally because we would know who we are. If you say to me, I don't like you because you have two eyes. It was supposed to be a joke, but anyway. If you say something that is not true of me, and then I take it personally, it could mean that deep down I think it is true. Don Miguel talks about a little story about the little girl that she liked to sing when she was a child, but one day the mom walks in and she's not feeling well. She's upset about things that have happened to her in the day. and she didn't want to hear her singing. And she's like, "Stop that. You sound awful." What happens to this child? She stops singing, and she goes the rest of her life thinking that she cannot sing. The Miguel tells us that when this child is an adult, if she wants to change that, because once, yes, we go through childhood and we don't have to say in what's going on with us, but once we become adults and we realize, okay, maybe we can start changing this, that she can make it a point to sing whether she thinks somebody's going to say that she sings awful or not, and little by little work on that. Now, taking things personally is not just about somebody saying something negative to you and you agreeing to it. It could be something positive. I mean, and it goes back, it is all about the other person. If the other person is telling you you're awful, that's because that person at that moment most likely is not having a good day. Something has happened to that person. So yes, do not take it personally. But what if that person another day is telling you, you are the greatest thing since sliced bread? Should you take that personally? It could be. It could be that that person is just having a great day, that she thinks everything around her is beautiful and lovely. What I like to say, if somebody tells me something overly nice, thank you. And if it's something to do with what I do as a minister, I like to remind them, it is not I, but the Christ within who does the work. That way I don't take it personally. Because at the next day, that person could be in a bad mood and tell me just the opposite. And am I going to take that personally? I should not. So what is it that we're doing when we take things personally? Don Miguel tells us about how when you're in a situation, what you're doing, or any situation during your day, what is it that we're doing? We're playing a movie. In this movie, in our movie, we are the director, we are the actor or actress, and we're seeing things through our eyes. We're understanding everything that's happening to us through our agreements. So that movie could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how your agreements are about the different situations that you're going through. So how do we get out of playing these movies, of letting ourselves be kind of caught up in these agreements of taking things personally, not realizing that it's not about you? I'd like to touch on the fact that the agreements that we have is not just about others, what others are saying and teaching us, but the truth is that our own minds have the ability to either talk or listen to itself. Don Miguel says that our minds are split just like the rest of our bodies are, which made me think is very true, especially in the mind, or really the brain. We know that the brain has what? 2 hemispheres. And we understand that one is the creative side and the other one is the more intellectual side. Hence, when we're making a decision and we're in our mind, what is it that happens to us? We start going back and forth. Should I do this or should I do it this way? Should I go here or there? That's why I like to say, if you're going through that experience, get out of your head, go into your heart. As the Heart Math Institute says, your heart is single-minded, if you will. So being single-minded, and yes, your heart really has neurons and everything just like the brain, and actually more powerful than the brain. And I like to go to the heart when I need to make a decision about something. And usually it's a single decision, and you don't have this back and forth as like, should I go here or there, left or right? And when you speak from your heart, you can make decisions that are good for everybody. I'm reminded of when I was a prayer chaplain. And what do they teach us about praying for others? They teach us to go from your mind those 18 inches down to your heart, and to listen with your heart and then speak from your heart. So Don Miguel says that yes, our mind is kind of picking up the energy and the thoughts and histories, I'm going to say, of other realms, that our mind can pick up other dimensions. I like to think of it as our minds are like a channel on the TV. If you have it on channel 2, you're going to get all the information from channel 2. But if you have a regular TV that you can change channels, then you can go to a different channel. And that's what's happening with our mind. Our mind, depending on where we are, is picking up different frequencies. That's why we like to go into meditation, because we're lifting our frequency from one level to another, and we're going to those, as Don Miguel calls it, realms of the gods, so we can live and move from that higher being. Don Miguel also says that when we're in our mind, in this realm where we experience everything as the physical, that we have what he calls, and the Toltecs call, as you say, the mitote, which is this mind fog, which is like thousands of people talking at the same time. Hence, you don't know what you want to do, what you want to be. He also mentioned it that it's kind of like a huge marketplace where everybody's talking and bartering at the same time. Talk about, I don't know if you've ever been to a huge open marketplace where everybody's selling different things right next to each other, and you're just hearing all this chattering back and forth and noise and everything like that. I actually had the experience because growing up in Colombia as a kid, we would have these marketplaces, and they're not very, you don't see them a lot anymore, but back in the day I was able to experience that, where you go and it's just, to me it sounds like mayhem. So think about your mind and all the mayhem that's going on. I don't mean to scare you with all this. So yes, we are addicted to all this because that's all we know. And if that's all we know, it's hard to get away from it. And this is, I think, a good reason why we do take things personally, because we get addicted to that. And as I personally think we are all addicted to something, period. You know, it's not the main things that we know about, but we are addicted to one thing or another. And yes, we are addicted to all those agreements that we grew up with. And if we feel that they're not helping us, it's not the easiest thing to kind of let them go. Don Miguel says that by practicing the first agreement, which is to be impeccable with your word, that we can get rid of a lot of those teeny tiny agreements. The good news is that he says that if we practice that first agreement and the second agreement of not, why am I completely not taking anything personally? Don't take this personally, by the way, the fact that I keep missing on that. So yes, being impeccable with your word and also practicing not taking anything personally, that we can actually get rid of 75% of those teeny tiny agreements that we grew up with. Does that sound like a great thing? I mean, just 2 out of the 4, and we're up to 75%. You know, most of us, I think that'll be good enough. Get us through life a little better. I'd like to touch on something that he briefly mentions about how, talking about this dream, in the U.S., we like to think that we are free, that we are in a free country. But are we really? And I heard somebody giggling already. Who stops us from being free? In truth, it's ourselves. Exactly. Now, Randy mentioned about how the children across the way are learning the same things we're doing. And he alluded to the fact that actually for them to learn what we're learning here, it's going to be a lot easier and a lot quicker for them because they have less of the baggage. Don Miguel says that children between the ages of 2 and 4 don't have all this baggage that we're calling agreements here. So they are able to be free to be themselves. And how do we know that? Have you ever been in an airplane when a young child is there and he or she wants something and is not getting it? Is that child worried about what somebody might say because they're yelling and screaming? I don't think so.
They were scared of me.
The truth is that, yes, when we are very young, normally we don't worry about what anybody says or what anybody thinks. And yes, it's true. Somebody made a comment, and yes, it reminds me that I personally, as a child, from a very young age, my dad made sure that I didn't have a say about anything and that I cannot talk back to him. So yes, at a very young age, I lost that. And I mentioned it last time in one of my other talks that thankfully I had 5 years with my grandparents that I lived with them. And they were completely the opposite of what I was experiencing with my dad. And that helped me to get out of my shell and, yeah, to be a little boisterous to the adults, believe it or not. And yes, along the way, I kind of lost that again. And then as an adult, I had to start working on it again. So what has happened to us as adults? Why have we lost that? Don Miguel says there's one simple word: responsibility. We have to be responsible in everything that we do. I'm remembering another thing that Don Miguel touched on, which is if you watch children playing, and if you ever see them playing, trying to be an adult, what happens to them? They become serious. Or I am the doctor now. I am the lawyer. And thinking back, I've mentioned, and maybe a lot of you don't know this, but as a child, when I was about 9, I used to play being a priest. I guess my inner self knew something back then, because after that I completely forgot about it. But I do remember thinking back that what was it that I did when I became the priest? I became serious. I am responsible now. But if I was playing anything else at all, it was just go. Whether it be playing soccer, riding my bicycle, being careless with it. So yes, we are no longer free because we let the judge and the victim and our belief system dictate how we go through life. Don Miguel says that in truth, the real you is still that child that I was just talking about. And it's interesting that even the Bible, and I'm specifically talking about Jesus, gives the children that importance. In the verse from Matthew chapter 18, verses 1 through 4, we read that he says, "At that time the disciples came to Jesus and asked, 'Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?' Now he called a child whom he put among them and said, 'Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever becomes humble like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven.'" I think it's very straightforward there, that Jesus is saying, if you want to live your life true to yourself, which means being in that kingdom of heaven, you want to be like a child. And it's taken us only about 2,000 years to start to get this point. So yeah, the way I see it is that we forgot to laugh. We forgot to have fun. Along the way, life came about, responsibilities came about, and we forgot to be children. Now, how do we return to be like children? Who remembers how they were like when they were children? 4, 5, 6, 7. Do you remember that you were just like you are today? No, I'm just kidding. You were definitely not. So what's the first step towards going back to being like a child? Just be aware of it. I'm going to say that when you have decisions to make throughout the day, throughout your week, things that you think you need to accomplish, how about we start by thinking, how can I have fun doing what I am supposed to do? It sounds like somebody's having fun already. Wonderful. Well, thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me tell you, last Sunday, I mentioned something about Charles Fillmore talking about being in just the zeal for life, and he had that affirmation, and he was almost 94 when he was saying this. So I appreciate, and there was somebody in the audience who had just turned 91 years old. And I think we can learn from our elders, which reminds me that, and I've always thought this, we go through the stages in our life that, yes, we are children, and we are doing certain things a certain way, and then we become adults. And there comes a point, I think, and I like to think that I'm slowly getting there myself, where you start realizing it's like, why am I worried about what others think about me? Why am I taking anything personally? And the older you get, I'm going to say the less you worry about what others think or say about you. So we really do go back to being children. So my thought for today is to let you know that to get rid of this dream that we have, of this dream that we have as a society, that we need to be a certain way, act a certain way, even dress a certain way. Let's not wait to be older and older to remember to go back to be like children. But just make it a point to focus right now at this moment, to dream a new dream, and just be yourself, no matter what anybody's thinking, no matter what anybody else is doing. Be your true self. Be impeccable with yourself. And let's dream that new dream, and let's let that heaven be part of who and what we are. Thank you. Let's go into a time of meditation. If you wish to take a deep breath as you are able to, just relax into this moment. Know that we are here in divine order. Know that our true self is that connection to the divine, that connection to God. We welcome it into our presence, into our awareness, and we let it be part of who and what we are right now. I want you to just relax into this moment. Think even about what we've been talking about today. Don't let others dictate what you do, what you think, how you should act, how you should be. Just go down into your heart and let the singularity of the heart dictate what you do from day to day, what decisions you make, how you should make them, and even why. If you let yourself live from your heart, you can be sure that you will be remembering how to be like a child, how to live with passion, living with that awareness that you really are connected in all that you do and all that you are, with that divine presence, with divine spirit, with your Christ within. Let's let the words of Jesus remind us that to be in our heaven, we need to be like children. We need to remember to laugh. We need to remember to have fun. To let joy be part of who and what we do at all times. If you have something in mind right now that you'd like to be doing or accomplishing, think of it, how can I have joy with it? How can I have fun with it? How can I be like a child? And as you think of that, let's go into the silence. I am the Holy One, walking the perfect journey. I am awake and holy. My heart is free, my mind is free. Let the child in you come out. Let that child play. Let that child sing. Let that child love openly. I'd ask you to take this with you throughout the rest of the day, the rest of the week. We are grateful for this in and through the name and the power of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Where do I go with all these feelings and all these faces and open doors when everyone else seems so serene and I just feel so insecure? And where do I go when all the pieces of my heart lay on the floor? You say, come into the light, why don't you? Come into the light, why don't you? Come on now, come into the light. Where do I go with all these memories and all these bags filled up with shame? And how should I feel when you call me an angel and dress me in a crown of gold? And what should I do when tears of sorrow just won't stay inside these eyes? You say, come into the light, why don't you? Come into the light, why don't you? Come on now, come into the light. What should I do when a gentle hand it reaches out to take my own? And how should I feel when the tears of joy, they just won't stay inside these eyes? What will I do when I start to love you and really trust and know you're there? You say you'll be in the light where I am. You'll be in the light where I am. Come on now, come into the light. You'll be in the light where I am. You'll be in the light where I am. Come on now, come into the light.
Come into the light. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Reverend Harold. We greatly appreciate that talk today. And thank you for reminding all of us that we are our own director of the movie of our life. And in that movie, yes, I have a full set of hair. And I try. I really do. But thank you for that. And in a perfect world, we have the opportunity to practice so many different things. We have the ability, as Reverend Harold talked earlier today, to practice not taking things personally. That's difficult, as he mentioned, and I know we all have that. Just like any of the four agreements that we practice being impeccable with our word. And we also have the ability to practice the principle of generosity. And this is the last time you're going to see this slide. I will, yes, it'll be the last time because it's changing. It's going to change in that everyone knows, I would imagine, that as long as we practice that principle, there are more than actually 4 ways in which you can give. There are more than 4 ways. So I'm going to take this slide down next week because it's unlimited in how we can give. And I don't want to be limiting.
That's good.
And I thought about it, and I didn't get around to it this week. So, I'm limiting this week, but next week I promise not to be limiting. For those in the sanctuary, we have a basket as you walk out. For those of you who are joining us online, there are a number of ways, and Joseph is posting that right now as we speak. And he's going to take down the slide right now so that you don't see it. It'll be the last time. Gone. It's absolutely gone. It'll never be seen again. But in its place, what I'm going to invite you to do, those of you online, you also have the opportunity to demonstrate how you are blessed this week. And how you're going to demonstrate that is for those of you who are here in the sanctuary, we have little sheets in the back that says, this week I was blessed by. And it can be a word, it can be a paragraph, or as much as you can fit on this little sheet. And I would encourage you to drop it in the basket on your way out of the sanctuary this evening. For those of you, or this morning rather, for those of you who are joining us online, you've got it easy because you don't even need a piece of paper. You can just go ahead and put it in the chat stream. Because as we put words to our blessing, they do what? Multiply. Absolutely. And it's a recognition of that generosity, of that prosperity, and it just multiplies. And how we're going to continue that acknowledgement is our musicians are going to sing in just a moment, as soon as I stop talking. I'm grateful. And in the back of those in the sanctuary, in the back of the chairs, you will see hand motions. For those of you online, and if you don't want to pull out the card, we're actually going to show it on the screen. And you'll have to, for those of you who are comfortable and able to do so, we welcome you to stand up and do the motions, because not only when you sing or voice through the gratitude, by doing the hand motions, it even gets you more engaged in the gratitude. So, right first is the prosperity affirmation that we're going to do. Thank you, Joseph, for reminding me that I needed to do that. And we're going to take that energy of gratitude, we're going to take that energy of prosperity, we're going to take that energy of blessing, and we're going to hold that as we affirm together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate, and I am grateful.
Gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 I'm so grateful.
We bless the offerings that are destined for Unity of Melbourne and are grateful for all of the ways in which each and every one continue to support this spiritual community. These manifestations of abundance will be used in faithful stewardship. We bless the gift. We bless the giver and hold the conviction that each blessing will be manifest in each of our lives 100-fold. And so it is, and we claim it to be by saying amen. Please be seated. Do want to acknowledge not only all of you here in the sanctuary, but we've got Andrea, Beth, Janine, Karen, Paulette, Susan, Cynthia, a couple of Barbaras, and Tanya, who have checked in earlier on Facebook today. So thank you so very, very much. And as you've already come into the sanctuary, but as you leave, there's a little webcam right next to Joseph. So on your way out this evening, or this afternoon rather, just wave hi. And when you come in next time on Sunday, wave at the camera, because that is streamed, and it lets people know that you're actually real and we don't have a bunch of mannequins that are actually sitting in the sanctuary. But thank you for that. Thank you. Next week, we have Hank Lewis, licensed Unity teacher, who will be giving us the third in the series of the talk. And I do want to mention, yes, that's all I have about Hank. Thank you. We have the Sunday Talk discussion immediately following at 11:45, which is 5.5 minutes from now. For those of you on Zoom or watching us on Facebook or YouTube, Joseph is posting the link right now for the Zoom, and we do it on that social media or that medium platform. For those of you in the sanctuary, we invite you to join us. I forgot to ask you if you'll join us, so I don't want to put you on the spot, but just see me right after the service. But Maggie Roche, one of our licensed Unity teachers, and I think will be down as well to make sure things are set up. I want to thank Reverend Harold and his wife for being here today. Thank you so much for making the drive over. I want to thank Chris in the back for audio, and Joseph on the back on video. Our prayer chaplains are here in the sanctuary. Again, they're available after the worship service. I want to thank our fabulous musicians. I mean, fabulous. Mr. Fred Goodnight on drums, Ron Cobb on bass, Stoney Copeland on keyboards, Vashti St. Germain on harmonies, and Deborah Thornton on lead vocals. Thank you so very, very much. And we want to go ahead and close out. Oh, I did want to mention, thank you, Ann, for the Wednesday midweek for agreements discussion on Zoom. We will post that. I don't have it with me, so I couldn't post it up here. I'll post it on Facebook in about an hour, because it's going to take me a few minutes to find it. And if you want to wait for it, I'll give it to you before you leave the church today. So that's the best I can do, but I did remind, the note is actually down there, but I did bring it up with me. And we'll get that to you. So let's go ahead and close our service today with our affirmative prayer for protection. And what are we singing? Oh, stand. I had to check my notes. Our prayer for protection. Please join me in affirming. The light of God surrounds me. I am light. The love of God enfolds me. I am love. The power of God protects me. I am power. The presence of God watches over me. I am the presence. Wherever I am, God is, for I know that all is divine. Thank you so very much for being with us. Thank you.
So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now.
Clouds have gathered here before. Sand has shifted beneath our feet. Time has marked the moments when trembling hearts skipped a beat. Be still, my soul. Be still. Be still, my soul. Be still. A rush of wind fills the air, the breath of life drawing near. God is here. Be still. Be still. Who am I to doubt this truth? Who am I to fear my need? The one who holds my life and breath will not falter, will not leave. So be still, my soul. Be still. Be still, my soul. Be still. A rush of wind fills the air, the breath of life drawing near. God is here. Be still. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. God is here. Be still. Be still. Oh, be still. Be still. Be still. Be still. Be still.